Welcome to the Four Brewers Podcast. My name is John Holzer, and as always, I am joined by
Jason Harris
and Tim Mather.
And today on the show, we are celebrating probably one of the most well-known, if not the biggest and best beer festivals around this time of year in the beer scene. We're celebrating Oktoberfest.
Woo!
We've got no fancy music to play this year because we'll probably get pinged on YouTube and Twitch for playing something that's actually licensed by some old...
There's got to be some royalty-free Oktoberfest music.
We got to find some Oompa music. There's got to be something that's free. So maybe we'll throw that in later on. But we're drinking Oktoberfest beers this week after a brief hiatus. We took last week off and we're back again. And we've got a bunch of beers on the show. We have a couple that overlap, but I think total we're around 10 or 12 beers.
We have a shockingly small overlap considering how many different beers we have. Like between us, there's 20 bottles of beer, and we have one of the same beer, I think.
We have two, I think, of the same, unless Jason doesn't. At least Tim and I both have two of the same. But
I didn't get the left hand. I saw it at the store, but I didn't get it.
I'm impressed with how many you picked up.
Yeah, I just really like Oktoberfest. There's no way I'm going to drink all these, but I feel like just having the variety is nice.
Yeah.
We have a shared document that we put all the beers in, and Jason has 3, 6, 7. He has 8 in the document. And
that reminds me.
I just put them all in there, and I'm like, you know what? He'll just pick and choose, and we'll go from there.
I will have to admit that if put on the spot and asked what my favorite style of beer is, I think Oktoberfest and Marzens would for sure be the one I'd go with. They're one of my favorites.
I don't know if it's my favorite. I mean, because it's a style that's brewed primarily once a year. There are some breweries that do make it year round, which I'm down for. I'm always down to have a good Marzen, but I wouldn't say it's my favorite. I mean, I think my favorite style is probably going to be IPA, followed by Pilsner Lager. But Marzen or Marzen, however you want to say it, is right up there at the top, most definitely.
And for whoever is yelling at your radio at home, we understand that Marzen and Fest beer are not necessarily the same.
Yes.
Not all Fest beers are Marzens. Also, we're saying Marzen and not Marzen or whatever the fuck, the full German accent. So just get those complaints out of the way. Send those to Matt at fourbrewers.com and I
wonder if he still has his email set up in case he does get email.
I really hope he gets some now. He'd be like, hey, some guys are emailing me about it. You guys don't know anything about Oktoberfest.
Jason, what did you just open, man?
He's the only one being proper here with his glassware.
Yeah, Jason actually has dimpled glassware. I have one or two that I got. I have one from Hamilton Family out of Rancho Cucamonga, and another that Laguna Beach Brewing Company sent us. But typically, I don't drink enough beer out of our normal glasses. I wouldn't want to use a bigger glass for this show. It would just be a mess. So
this is going to be a mess, John.
Maybe for you.
When I say drink a liter of beer, this is a liter of beer. Up to the line is a liter.
So good.
Yeah. So this is the Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. I'm not going to drink a liter of each beer. I bought one beer that I had enough to fill the big mug, so I could fill the big mug.
So did you just fill that with 3 bottles of?
Yes, this is 3 bottles of Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest, and 3 bottles is perfect. Look it gets you a nice foamy head. And the thing with the dimpled glass,
where Jason's showing this to the camera in our live stream. Yeah. So it looks fantastic.
The dimpled glass keeps agitating the beer, so you keep that big foamy head the whole time you're drinking it.
Right.
And
it looks cool too. It gives it's the signature look for an Oktoberfest or a Fest beer.
Prost
kind of beer. I guess we can just toast. Prost.
Yeah.
I'm sticking with a classic, and a lot of people might not call it a classic, but I think it's a beer that a lot of people like, but tends to fly under the radar during this time of year. And it's the Boston Brewing Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
I really thought long and hard about that because it is one of my favorites. And I think when we did the showdown, it did pretty well.
Mm-hmm. It did. The Showdown also, we have a beer coming up from Left Hand. I think Left Hand Oktoberfest was also on the Showdown that we did back in the day.
I think, I was going to say,
sorry.
I think some of the larger end of the craft breweries like Sam Adams or Sierra Nevada, while they may sometimes get shit, I do think that they do a really solid job on some of these sort of more interesting traditional styles.
Well, if you're one of those big macro level craft breweries, like you're probably pretty good at making pills and lager and working with that yeast and working with those, like you said, those more traditional styles that if you can't knock it out of the park, like what are you knocking out of the park? You know, because like a brewery like the Boston Beer Company or Sam Adams, they're not, I mean, they make decent IPA, they make decent stouts, you know, or as far as hype beer goes, like they're not going to stand out in the crowd. But when it comes to that more traditional stuff, that's where they should. This is their time to shine.
Like, yeah, for sure.
With the Oktoberfest beers.
And so because I don't have that, the Sierra ones, I'm going to be sipping on those throughout the show. That's my secondary beer.
Jason's just embracing Oktoberfest, getting into
it. That's right. I'm really getting in the spirit. So I have another smaller
mini mug.
Yes. Sam Adams Oktoberfest dimpled mug. Nice. And in this one, I do not have Sam Adams, which I do consider one of my favorites of the Oktoberfest beers. But I have what I would consider the
granddaddy
default gold standard Oktoberfest beer is Spaten Oktoberfest.
Yes, for sure.
I would say that's like probably the most traditional, like the gold standard for Oktoberfest. Like, as far as I know, like they're allowed to use the name Oktoberfest for the beer. They're Spaten. Like it's just such a classic brewery.
I think they are the AB one. So I mean, of course they are.
I'm okay. I don't give a shit.
Which is why they're at every regional Oktoberfest festival you go to. They're like, oh yeah, and we have so much Spaten and Bud Light.
But I would add to what you guys said to say yes, I agree. Like that's for me one of the go-tos. It's usually readily available, which is always nice. And honestly, like with my selection here, there's only a couple in here that I haven't actually seen before, which is, you know, sometimes it becomes a little more difficult to find, say, like an Oktoberfest from a local brewery unless they're really getting into it. And so you kind of have to go to like the default level. And I would for sure say Spaten is top of the line there.
Speaking of which, what are you drinking, Tim?
So I am drinking the Integrin Oktoberfest.
Nice.
Jealous. I love their beer.
Bavarian style Marzen. So for those who don't know, Integrin is a kind of, they focus on German style lagers and ales. They're out of
Echo Park. Moore Park, yes.
Yeah, Moore Park, California. So they're just up the coast, about an hour up the freeway. I've been there. They have a really nice facility. And they make some really amazing German style beers. We did Integrin on a show a while back. I think when we were all in person still.
Yeah, we had Greg brought them in. He brought in their like core beers, which the place I went to pick up my beers, Gerard's and Redlands, they had Integrin beers, and they did not have the Oktoberfest beers.
Oh, sad.
And oddly enough, they had, aside from some off-brand Oktoberfest beers that I've never had, they didn't have like the more well-known Oktoberfest beers that were from actual Germany. So I don't have any German brewed Oktoberfest beers, unfortunately.
Before I put in my request for us to do an Oktoberfest show, I picked up a 4-pack of this at Trader Joe's on my way out. So that kind of inspired to do it. This one's really solid. I think Integrin, their version is a little bit on the sweeter side. It's got a little bit more of that malty sweetness, it definitely is the sweeter. And then kind of the finish has a little bit of the bite, but it's so mellow. It's really good.
Yeah, the Sam Adams Oktoberfest, I think, is more on the sweet side as well. It has a lingering sweetness to it. It kind of is reminiscent, and this might sound wrong, but it kind of reminds me of a pumpkin beer. Like it's not made with pumpkin or those spices or anything, but the malt characteristics and the sweetness that's left behind in this beer, I get that vibe for the season. And it's weird that it's coming from a beer that's just an Oktoberfest beer, like not made with pumpkin or anything. So it's getting me in the mood for, you know, the fall weather. Hopefully when it gets cold sometime in February, Southern California.
I'm so used to it being so goddamn hot that I'm just like, oh, it's not so bad. It's only 95.
I mean,
Yeah.
right now I want a pretzel necklace, a stein of Oktoberfest, and go get lost in a hay maze somewhere.
It's also the same time of year when you'd be going to the Great American Beer Festival. I'm wearing the shirt. I just got this in the mail. This is GABF is still happening, but it's virtual, quote unquote. And they had like a package you could buy that is basically like a passport to go to GABF, and you could get like a shirt or a shirt in a glass or whatever. And this year it starts on the 16th of October, I think, but like officially it starts at the beginning of October. And if you bought a passport, you could go to different places and get discounts on like crowler fills or can purchases or whatever. It's up to the breweries that participate. So that's the shirt I'm wearing. And yeah, typically it happens around the same time of year as Oktoberfest. So and by the way, this shirt is very comfortable. It's like one of the weirdest shirts I've ever worn. It's like a combination of a sweater and a shirt, if that makes sense. Like it's knit, and it's almost a swerter. A swerter. How about that? I don't know.
You want to get one of the swerter?
I'm just gonna say it's the most comfortable shirt I've ever worn. And
wow.
I got it from the Brewers Association. So shout out to them. They really put a lot of thought into what this shirt's made of, because it's really comfortable. I just wanted to say that because it's really comfortable.
So, Spaten, starting off, brown sugary. According to Untapped, at least, I have not checked into this beer in 5 years. And that may be true. I used to be really big into Oktoberfest. I loved going to the local festivals and everything. And then the ones around here, at least, kept getting more and more rowdy. Yeah. And they stopped letting you bring glass mugs at all. And I'm like, dude, if I can't bring, like, they wouldn't sell you a dimpled mug, but if you brought your own, they would fill it. Or they would give you a glass that you could pour into your own mug. It's a bunch of pain in the ass shit. But eventually it got to where they're just like, yeah, no, you just got to use a plastic cup. And I'm like, I am not paying you $10 a beer to drink out of a plastic cup.
That's no fun.
No fucking way, sir. This is not a baseball stadium.
Last Oktoberfest I went to was at Anaheim Brewery with Greg. And Anaheim has a big German population as it is. So they, Anaheim Brewery representing Anaheim, they put a lot of focus into actually trying to simulate a traditional Oktoberfest kind of celebration. They had, an UPA band there and people dressed up wearing the traditional garb that you'd see at Oktoberfest, and obviously Oktoberfest beers on tap that they brewed, and it was really fun. Anaheim Brewery is very small, but it was really cool to see that. That's the last Oktoberfest thing I went to that wasn't focused on just getting drunk and drinking massive amounts of alcohol.
Dude, fun fact on the Spaten Oktoberfest page, to go back to what I said at the beginning of the show. This is the Marzen beer sold in the U.S. and elsewhere as Spaten Oktoberfest Urmarzen, and not the Golden Fest beer sold in Munich as Oktoberfest beer.
Yeah, I think you can get their Fest beer here. It's probably not the same as the one in in Munich, but I think their Fest beer is available out here.
I've never seen it, but
maybe. I think next Oktoberfest we'll need to do a live remote from Germany.
Patreon.com/4brewers. Support the shit out of it.com.
If we're able to leave the country a year from now,
or
the way things are going right now, I don't know. I don't want to get into that, but
good. Yeah. And John has his lead in.
Yeah,
no, I'm not going to go there. Not going to go there.
The Spaten is super crushable though. In my little mini liter, my half liter. So it's such a miniature liter that it's half of a liter, so not a liter at all.
God, and looking at that half liter, you definitely crushed it because it is empty.
I love that though. That glass is so great because there's no way I would, unless I were out at a festival, be able to go for the liter. So that half liter is so cute and perfect.
I'm telling you, Tim. I brought up GABF, and if you go out to Colorado for GABF, the spot you have to visit is Prost Brewing. And it is so easy to go there and get a couple liters of whatever they make and just drink, because you're there amongst your people, you're having fun. There's no anxiety. It's nice weather. and you can just easily crush liters of Prost beer.
Dude,
It's an amazing experience.
These big dimpled mugs too. So one year, that's probably about 10 years ago now, I'm old. Me and a buddy got straight up Beer Fest Team USA jumpsuits.
Oh yes.
Like, and then we went to Oktoberfest, like the big one in Torrance, at Alpine Village. And we just had our giant mugs. And the crazy thing with these giant liter mugs is you can like toast them and people will just be like, boom,
boom.
And like they just, dude, they're like a half-inch thick glass. They're fine.
You could beam it off someone's head and kill them.
That's I think why they don't allow them in anymore.
Most likely.
You touched on why I believe they are no longer allowed. But I never hit anybody with them.
I don't believe the Alpine Oktoberfest is happening anymore. Like, I think that was canceled not because of COVID, but like the year before last, I believe. Like, it's just not a thing anymore.
It became a thing where like it became renowned around Southern California as the place to go get fucked up, which meant after like 8 p.m. it was just a fucking disaster. So I stopped going a long time ago.
Yeah, I can't handle that. That was one of my big turnoffs, I think, from a lot of festivals that weren't put on by the right places. Right. Is it like it's a place I don't want to go and be around. It sounds so stupid. I don't want to go and be around drunk ass people. Like, granted, I know you go any festival, you're gonna have drunk ass people, but I'm just talking like there was one. It was an LA craft beer festival, but it wasn't like the Brewers Guild beer festival. There's another
it was
one.
The other one that sounds like it's the
yeah.
I think I went to it the first year when they were on the Sony studio lot, and I remember going with my wife, and they're just being puke on a wall, and I'm just like, I'm done.
There's the deeper you get into the craft beer scene, you get to know beer festivals, and you know which ones are just shit shows where it's like, let's go and get drunk. And then there's ones that are like, that's where all the good breweries participate, and there's responsible people. I mean, you still have outliers that get drunk and pass out, and that happens at beer festivals.
Sure.
But, you know, there's not, as far as the crowd goes, the rowdy people tend to, well, maybe they're at the ones that are actually sanctioned by the Brewers Guild, but like it seems like more people go to those cheaper fests where you're going to get like, I don't know, Mike's Hard Lemonade right next to some LA brewery.
Who want to go drink beer and hang out, and obviously, like, you know, hanging out and getting drunk's not an enemy of the goal, but it's not necessarily like, yeah, we're gonna go to the LA Beer Week Fest and we're gonna get so fucking obliterated, man. It's just like, oh no, we're gonna try a bunch of beers, we're gonna see our friends.
Yeah,
like the primary goal isn't let's just get smashed, but you can somehow end up at certain beer festivals or like any bar on drinking holidays, right? Like if you go out on St. Patrick's Day or fucking Cinco de Mayo or anything, it's just like people are like, I haven't been out in 3 months and I'm going to do 3 months worth of partying today.
Oh, dude, yeah, right now.
Here we go.
God, imagine beer festivals when and if things get back to normal. Like people, it's just like the insanity that's going to happen. I don't know. Right? I think that's still a long ways off, but yeah, it's all this pent up, like, I don't know. It's people are going to burst with like, oh my God, I'm outside with a bunch of people having fun drinking beer. And
I just picked up tickets actually yesterday to a socially distanced drive-in concert.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Who's the artist?
It's going to be Dawes. I don't know if you guys know Dawes.
Mm-mm.
It's like like an LA folk rock. They're pretty awesome, but they're at the what is it? It's the City Grove of Anaheim.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So they're doing like it's basically 10 feet between cars, and like you can use part of the open space to put chairs out. So I'm kind of intrigued by that.
So they're going to actually be there in person?
Yeah. Well, fuck, I hope so for the price.
Well, I mean, Metallica did a drive-in concert that was $125 a ticket that was pre-recorded at some winery.
Yeah,
there's no stopped saying Metallica.
Stop. I love Metallica.
Oh, it was really expensive and not really a great value for the money. Yeah, sounds like Metallica.
Sure, but you can also watch a lot of their live stuff on YouTube for free from them. Yeah. So
but selling a concert video for $80 is extremely on brand for Metallica.
I'm not going to I didn't go. Like,
let me just put it this way: the lack of live music right now is pretty killer. So I'm whatever it ends up being, I'm pretty stoked to get
I've got some stuff that makes me sound like a nerdy theater kid happening next week, but I'm gonna watch a Josh Groban live stream actually today. That's tonight.
Nice.
And then
what about
it's Josh Groban like doing a concert live.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And then Wednesday I'm going to a movie premiere at a drive-in. There's a movie premiere. What is the movie called now? I'm blanking on it. It sounded kind of cool. I'm just like, dude, yeah, sure, I'll go. I need to go anywhere.
Well, that was us with Street Food Cinema. We got like three movies almost night back to back just because we're like, let's go do something.
Yeah, a movie called Arch Enemy starring the dude that was in the Vampire Werewolf show. He's like a big buff dude and he's nerdy. What the fuck's that guy's name?
The Vampire Werewolf show?
True Blood. He was on True Blood. That was like what he's most famous for, but he's also like a big D&D nerd and he's famous for that stuff too.
No idea.
I see him in my head. Yeah. I can't. Yeah, I don't know.
Joe Manganiello.
Okay,
that's his name, Joe Manganiello. But yeah, I don't know. It looks like it'd be all right. But it's at the Mission Drive-In. They're doing the premiere of the movie. Got a couple of my friends are gonna drive the Roadmaster over there. It'll be fucking great.
I've been all about watching the live shows online. So the first one I saw was a show that Newfound Glory did when their latest album came out. I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, where they played 40 songs in a row, I think.
Jeez.
It was like 2.5 hours long. And then I watched their second stream from the same studio where they played their self-titled album. It was the 20-year anniversary of their self-titled all the way through, and then some other songs. That was like an hour and a half. And then tonight I'm watching Bad Cop, who did a show last night that's going to be replaying all weekend. They did that for a beer release they did with Amplified Aleworks out of San Diego. They have a beer with Amplified that's coming out that I ordered on Craft Shack. So I love watching stuff on YouTube. Like I said, when I run, I watch live Metallica shows. Anything I can watch live. Metallica, I mention the most because they're high quality and they sound amazing. But any band that can put something on the internet that it's like $10 to watch a show, I'll pay $10 to watch a band play a show. Like that's nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
that's a great deal. So
I did a Matt Pryor one. He did like a New Amsterdam's full album stream, and that was kind of nice. It was like you could hang here, watch the show. I could sit in the comfort of my own home and drink my own beer, and I pulled the lyrics up on the second monitor in case I forgot, and then I'm just like singing along, having fun, dude. It's good.
That just sounds amazing.
Live karaoke.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I'm going to be singing along at the concert too, but then be like, shit, I don't know the second verse that well. So you're kind of like faking it. And you're like, I hope the guy next to me didn't notice that I bullshitted through that last line. And,
goddamn poser.
Hey, John, what'd you move on to?
I opened up the left-hand Oktoberfest.
Okay, good. I'm going for it too.
Yep. Sure. This is, again, we had this on the show, our Oktoberfest Showdown back in the day. I didn't bring up the page from our site as far as like rankings go. I feel like this one was pretty high, though.
The one we did was a long time ago, by the way. It was like our first year, I think.
Really?
Yeah, the episode 18 Oktoberfest.
Holy
we did
shit.
a season 2 episode 37 as well, but
like a revisit.
Yeah, but that was still 2015.
Oh wow.
That was the showdown though. Did we rank them? We tried 20 beers apparently, but I don't know if we ranked them.
You think being the host of this show, I would have looked into that, but I'm
looking at the page and I can't tell. So I'm just like, I don't know if we ranked them.
Well, but, I mean, like the way we did it, or the way we do it now, like it's very clear if we did rank them because like you would write the blog post in order of what won.
Yeah, remember? But in 15, who knows what we did?
Yeah, I don't think we did it that way.
There's some weird ones on there that like you definitely wouldn't see anymore. So Gordon Biersch, like I don't think we're gonna find bottled Gordon Biersch in the store anywhere now.
No.
Abita, you definitely wouldn't get like a seasonal Abita beer out here anymore. There is Hangar 24. Yeah, we'd still see that one. Ninkasi. You definitely don't see nearly as much Ninkasi now as you did in 2015. some of the other ones, I'm still seeing all these other guys, like Hofbrauhaus, Polliner, Spaten.
There was also a show we did in 2019. It wasn't we, it was me and Natalie DeNicholas. At my house, just drinking Oktoberfest beers.
Fun fact on that one, that show a year ago had this AleSmith beer, which is the only beer that all three of us have.
We should have waited to open it together, but oh well.
I haven't opened it yet. Have you?
Me neither.
Well,
we still got it.
Okay, so
did you open it?
So we're on the left. We're on the left hand right now.
Yeah.
I'm not digging the left hand personally.
Why not?
Maybe it's lacking in sweetness for me. It definitely, this one's more on a I don't know.
I see what you're saying. It finishes very dry. It smells very caramely to me.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be very rich on the flavor. And it's kind of it's not flat, as far as carbonation goes, but it's just not, it's like there's not a whole lot there compared to I'm coming off the Sam Adams Oktoberfest, and this beer has way more flavor than the left hand.
Does. I feel like it ends very basic lagery. I mean, I don't know if I'm the best at describing beers, guys. But really, it just
get thee to a lagery.
It starts off with what you'd expect, a little bit of the sweetness and the caramel, but it fades out to just kind of a lagery, beery, slight bitterness finish.
It's not bad. I think if you sit with it for a bit, maybe you coming down from the first beer you had, and me coming down from the Sam Adams Oktoberfest, maybe those beers were just overly sweet, and maybe this beer is actually how the style should be. Because the longer I sit with it, I get more bitterness on the back end.
Yeah.
It is very dry, but I still get a lingering caramel malt finish. But coming off something that's sweeter, it definitely seems like it's lacking something. But I think it's you just need to let your palate adjust a little bit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I guess I feel as though I should say I think that you're absolutely right on that. I've had this Oktoberfest beer in the past, so I would not say it's not something that I wouldn't drink, but just comparing these two so far, that's all I'm going for.
So I have the Weihenstephaner Fest beer, and this is a proper Fest beer. It is yellow. Yes. It is not a Märzen, and it is nice and dry hoppy lager. So fun fact, past me, the last time I checked into this beer was in 2015, and I rated it a 3 out of 5. But I bumped that up to a straight 4 right now because this is really refreshing. It's not that rich, brown, sugary kind of caramel malt thing that you're getting. Not caramel malt, really. It's but that brown, sugary kind of malty presence you get out of a Märzen. But it's really refreshing, especially after drinking a bunch of Märzen. I actually really like this beer.
Do you think that lower rating might have been affected by maybe you drank it later at night and you're just trying to rush in a review to move on to a different beer?
I would bet that I was expecting a Märzen, and I was like, "What's this beer?" No, it's not good.
Yeah, because it's technically not a Märzen. It's a lighter lagery,
right?
Yeah,
which is its own style.
Well, I picked up a 4-pack of Highland Park's Fest beer that they recently put out.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I did.
Do you have one? Because I still have one.
Oh yeah, I have one left, but I also picked up the juice. I can't remember the juicy one, whatever it was called.
Like a juicy Oktoberfest? Because
no,
that would break my fucking brain.
No, it was totally different. It was a fruited wheat ale or something.
Hey,
else.
bro, it's a chocolate Oktoberfest slushy.
It's a double dry hopped Oktoberfest Märzen.
I mean, having had three of the Fest beers so far from Highland Park, the difference is very upfront between, say, a Märzen and a Fest beer.
Oh, they're very different beers.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the Märzen has a really nice fall sort of warming sweetness feel, while the Fest beer is very much like a nice you're out drinking on a hot day sort of refreshing thing going on.
Yeah, absolutely. The Märzen is very much you want to have it with pretzels, and it has like a bit of a baked goods kind of thing to it, like I don't know, it reminds me of like having like an appley dessert. It doesn't taste like an appley dessert. It just kind of touches on those like mental notes where you're like, oh, I'm eating like something with like cinnamon and apples, like an apple pie or something. Like it kind of gives you that vibe when you're drinking that beer.
Right. It's rich. It reminds you of the season. Even like with the Sam Adams Oktoberfest I had, where I said it kind of reminded me of like a pumpkin beer, even though there's no pumpkin spice in it or anything. That's what I thought of when I tasted that beer, and you get that vibe. I totally agree. That's a good call, Jason. Do we want to all open up the AleSmith since we have
AleSmith?
it?
Yeah.
All right, let me go grab mine.
Yeah, AleSmith. Let's open it up.
I like how it says AleSmith. It's the AleSmith Oktoberfest.
Booyah. You can't handle the AleSmith.
Yeah. Glassware. Stein.
Well, at least one of us listened, Tim.
I know. You're prepared. You're always prepared, Jason.
I have a closet full of glassware. It's kind of sad. I have storage problems in my home. I wonder why.
Oh, I downsized. I got rid of so many glasses last purge.
I got rid of a bunch, and I kept only the ones that I liked, and even then I still have so many.
I'm sure I'm going to purge some more if the move happens.
When you used to have to be like, do I like this enough to pack it and move it somewhere? No, fuck this. All right, they say that this is a medicine. They really stepped up the packaging from last year, because we have the picture on the website of the when John did it with Natalie, and that looked like Garbo.
Yeah, we're talking about the AleSmith Oktoberfest beer. It's actually the AleSmith, I think is what they call it.
AleSmith.
Right? AleSmith Oktoberfest. And
please welcome Herr AleSmith to the podcast.
They call this a German-style Märzen Lager. It is 5.5% alcohol by volume, and mine was canned on September 3rd. So it's a month old.
Where's mine?
Dude, the
September 14th.
The can from your picture from last year, John, looks like somebody's nephew made it. No, let's look at this, gang.
Yeah, it's
look at that. It's like a Oktoberfest flag with like an AleSmith logo in yellow and just the Anvil logo. It looks like super amateur hour.
It was version 1.0.
This new one's very clean. I love it.
The new one looks really nice. Did you queue up photos, John?
Yeah, I did. It's actually in the StreamYard thing right here.
I see the thing, but it doesn't have this beer. I don't know how to make the photos move. I can make the photos come on.
I know. I got to make the photos move. There we go.
Yeah.
Do it. Do it. Yeah.
Yeah, this looks really nice. That looks professional.
Yeah.
Herr AleSmith, now rise Duke of AleSmith.
So, I know that there's I should have done some pre-reading. I know, John, you did a little bit of research. Is Oktoberfest or Märzen one of those regionally protected style names?
Yeah, I don't know the details on it though, but you have to be from a certain region, and you have to like be blessed by some organization to call your beer Oktoberfest. Otherwise, it's like a fest beer or a Märzen style fest beer.
This is a German style Märzen lager.
Yeah, I mean, AleSmith calls it AleSmith Oktoberfest, so I don't think they're endowed to use that name. But is it enforced to the same level as like a Trappist branding or something like that? I don't think so. I mean,
I always find those regional protections very interesting, and it's all in like the like traditional German Belgian sort of area where a lot of those lie, and it's really
in beer. Yeah,
I know it's something that matters more in Germany and in Europe than it does anywhere else.
Europe in general is very big on protecting regional variation and styles, which in beer we say, yeah, it's Germany and Belgium because that's where the beer is made. Like France doesn't really have a protected beer style, but they have all sorts of protected stuff when it comes to other stuff. But
champagne one of them.
Yeah. But Oktoberfest beer is a protected appellation for beer produced at large breweries within the Munich city limits for consumption at Oktoberfest.
There you go.
So you have to actually be a brewery from Munich to make an Oktoberfest beer.
Not just from, but produced in Munich.
Yeah.
And what was it? So I believe the original Oktoberfest was it was the multi-day celebration for a wedding.
Yeah, it was the wedding of King Ludwig and Princess Therese of, God, I'm going to mess this up, Saxe-Hildburghausen on the 12th of October, 1810.
That's a hell of a wedding, man. Was it like 16 days or something?
Typically Oktoberfest goes from... I'm going to say the end of September to mid-October. There's some rules in place that change that window, but we're not going to get into that. But yeah, it's a 16, 15, 17-day celebration of their wedding.
Yep. Which ended up just getting picked up every year because it's really cool.
Oktoberfest lasts until the first Sunday in October, which is tomorrow. So we are actually not out of the range of Oktoberfest. Because the other thing that Oktoberfest nerds will say is,
it's
hey,
September.
Asshole, it's in September. It's not in October. It's celebrating October coming. It's not about being in October. Even though you stupid American, you think the Oktoberfest is in October, but it is celebrating October coming in.
It's so good we have Jason here to cover our ass.
That's right.
So when you listen to this show that comes out in 2 weeks, know that we recorded it before Oktoberfest was officially
That is
over.
right. Oktoberfest ends tomorrow, and the actual Oktoberfest was canceled due to COVID. So this is what we got.
Well, not the original Oktoberfest. This year's Oktoberfest.
Yeah, but I looked up the dates, and it was like Oktoberfest 2020 canceled. I was like, oh, womp womp.
Cancel culture, everything else,
right?
Unless culture strikes again. Yeah,
Oktoberfest is one of those things that, I mean, it's fun for local craft breweries to celebrate and stuff. I think it's more sad that the actual Oktoberfest celebration in Germany has been canceled, but it's not canceled in our hearts, in our glasses, because we're all here drinking Oktoberfest beers. So
never cancel my heart. Well, I mean, like we could probably. All right.
So this AleSmith, it's tasting. It's funny. So the first one I had was this Sam Adams Oktoberfest. The second one was the Left Hand Oktoberfest, and this one falls right in the middle, I think.
Oh, 100% for me.
It's not like overly sweet, but it's not super dry. It's kind of like in the middle, and I would say perfect, I think.
I feel like this is a beer that I could drink a liter of if I were given it. I think partially because it is right. You're actually right. It's like right in between. I was going to say that it almost feels a little too light, but
it's like they tried to split the difference between an NFS beer for sure.
Yeah. It's so easy drinking. It's delicious and super easy. And it just goes down like you could walk around with a stein of this, no problem.
Because I think if I took the traditional beers, if I took the Venstefan Fest beer, and I'm going to admonish you guys because neither of you had any German beers, you fuckers. Okay, you had one.
Jason, I looked, I tried. Gerard's. They did not have any.
Mine has the goddamn seal on it, dude.
All right. Tim's in. But the amount of German beers in your selection is very all-time low. But it is all the import has been pushed.
I'm just saying, don't hate me for not trying.
Trying the spot, which is very much a Märzen, as we've learned, because that is what they sell to America, versus the Venstefan, which is a traditional fest beer, which is kind of like a hoppy pilsner almost a little bit more malt presence, a little bit less danky hops, but it's pretty hoppy and it has a good hop presence. This beer really does split the difference between those. Doesn't have the bitterness of the Venstefan. It doesn't have the brown sugary sweetness of the true Märzen, but it ends up being more drinkable as a result because neither of those flavors are too strong.
Right.
And so, like Tim said, you could drink a fucking liter of it.
No problem. And coming off of the person who literally said, like, I don't know that I could drink a liter of beer, I take that back for this thing.
And drinking a liter of beer, again, I go back to Prost in Denver. Like, it's all about the mindset. If you're at like a place like that, or you're actually at Oktoberfest in Germany, you're not thinking about, can I drink a liter of this? You just get a liter of it and you drink it. And you're there with your friends, you're eating food, you're having fun. You know, you're in the moment, and this is what this style of beer reminds me of. Because, like I said, equating it to the Great American Beer Festival, I've been there 4 or 5 times, and every time we've gone to Prost, and so I have these really awesome memories of drinking this style of beer while amongst friends in the brewing industry.
And you're sitting there, and you got your glass, and you're like, you know what? Maybe I'm going to take a second. I need a minute, and then somebody comes up, and they're like, "Oh, Prost!" And then and you're like, oh shit. And then like you're like, okay, I'm good. Like, no, you can't drink. You can't not drink. It's bad luck. And you're like, okay. And then like 15 seconds later, that same thing happens again.
It sounds toxic on one end, but on the other hand, like, it's so fun.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
And by the way, just to your example, like if you're out there for GABF, you already know like what you're getting into. So it's not like out of the realm of that's going to happen.
Well, it's not like you go to GABF to get drunk. I'm just saying, like, when I'm never in Denver otherwise, and so when I am there, I make it a point to go to Prost, and so does everyone else. And so you're bound to run into somebody that you know in the industry and have fun. And that's the beauty of GABF and Oktoberfest and going to Prost. That's my whole point. And like I said, it's all about the vibe. When it comes to Oktoberfest for me.
And if you're wearing a velour Team USA jumpsuit, the year I did that, it was like being a celebrity. Like I got stopped like every like 10 seconds for like photos and shit. It was great. It was a really fun time.
Okay.
I had 2 more
common beers here.
We did them.
We did both of them.
Left Hand and AleSmith were the 2 common beers.
I've got my German and I've got my LA Ale Works.
Unless you want to do that Highland Park, because I got one I'll drink.
Well, if I am, I got to trade one out.
Well, that's fine. I don't care.
Which one do I want to trade out? Do I want to go? Jason did all the German ones. Maybe I'll keep the German beer.
All right. The Germans.
All right. So you guys are going to do Highland Park. I'm going to do...
I'll be right back.
I'm going to do Smog.
That works.
Because they're
keeping
close.
It LA. Do you have any that are a fest beer, John? Doesn't look like it. Smog might be, actually. They're the kind of traditionalist guys. No, it's a Märzen.
I think Haas is a I don't know.
Yeah, it's a Märzen.
Yeah. Yeah.
After I make a big deal about having a German beer, I go and just put it back. I really like this AleSmith one. This is really good. It's
really solid. Yeah,
it's such a good middle ground.
Wunderbar.
Right. So let me know whenever you want to do that, Jason.
Well, that's what AleSmith does best, right? Like they look at what's happening and they're like, all right, how can we make this the best thing ever? And that's what they do. And then they fly under the radar because they're AleSmith.
Did you want to do that next?
Yeah, we could do that. We could do those,
or we can save it for the last. That's fine.
Yeah, no, we'll do the Highland Park, and John's gonna do Smog.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yep. Okay, so up next we're opening Okay, so up next, we're opening some beers from some LA breweries. I've got a beer here from Smog City. This is their Smogtoberfest, and Tim and Jason have a beer from where's that from?
Highland Park.
Highland Park.
Woo!
Highland Park Fest beer, I believe is what it's called.
Yeah, Highland Park Fest beer. Love the little oompah going on there.
Yeah, it's got a tuba on it. It's got the little the diamond flag on the side, even though it's not blue and white. They kind of tweaked it a little bit. German style lager, an actual fest beer. It is very much yellow. Also, a pint can fills this little mini glass perfectly. Look, gives it a nice foamy head.
Damn. That is so good.
Tim, do you have
I just got my little shaker here.
We're gonna go back to Jason. Show us your glass.
Yeah,
again,
Jason's much better.
Put him on the glass.
Yeah, the can art
my dimples.
For this.
All the ladies love my dimples.
Dimples are so cute.
My dimpled mug.
This Smog City can art is pretty awesome. Like they've gone through a slight rebranding since COVID hit, and I'm down for it.
Dude, I was just noticing that at the store. They kept the same drawings and stuff, but even then they added kind of just the framing of the logos and stuff. It's a little bit more filled in, and I think it looks a lot better.
This can, though, looks like it just pops on a shelf. Like it's got every color, but in a very tasteful way.
That's really cool looking. Yeah. 4 branders.
Another podcast.
Tim's like, I'm the only brander here, motherfucker.
Yeah.
You guys talk. I'll be quiet.
You guys want to do a show where we talk about label art? I'm down.
That would be the one where Tim knows this, and I'm like down below off camera. I'm like, I like the photos.
Yeah. Finally, I feel like I belong.
Tim would be the host of that show, definitely.
God.
Actually, Smogtoberfest is a festival lager. They're calling it a fest beer, I think. So, the beer you have from Highland Park is also a fest beer. So I think this is the closest thing I have to a fest beer, even though it's kind of
it looks more copper.
Yeah, it's on the orange coppery side, but they call it a festival lager. So I don't know. Maybe it's like a hybrid.
Let's see what Highland Park's got going on.
Yeah, the Smogtoberfest does not have like that big, like impactful caramel, like sweet nose. Definitely, it has more of like a nice lagery kind of with a little bit of a caramel character on it, but nothing over the top. It's just it smells more clean than it does sweet and caramelly.
Mm-hmm.
How about that Highland Park beer?
This beer is very clean. Compared to the Venstefan, it's a little bit less hoppy, which is a very weird thing to say, that the American beer version of the 1,000-year-old German brewery beer is less hoppy, but it's less hoppy than the Venstefan beer. I think people aren't expecting hoppy when they drink a German fest beer, right? So, I mean, I think most people aren't expecting a fest beer, period. They're expecting
when it comes to drinking like a quote unquote Oktoberfest beer. Yeah.
And so I think you want to keep the hops down, otherwise people will be like, "Whoa, is this like an IPA?" Like an IPA, you know.
Do you mean it's more, or as far as hops go, you mean like as far as bitterness or character?
Yeah, a little bit of bitterness. But it's weird. It's not that like noble hop Pilsner dankness. Although, actually, it's kind of in line with a German Pilsner. It's not. So yeah, the hoppy character is closer to a German Pilsner, but with a little bit more malt character in it too. It's a little bit more. What you're describing
sounds like something that's kind of on brand for Highland Park. You know what I mean? And I'm not to say that Highland Park can't make traditional styles, but it sounds like they put a twist on it. And they didn't make like a hoppy Pilsner or a hoppy lager, but like they, maybe just decided to amp up the bitterness or the hoppy aspect.
No, what I'm saying, the bitter one is the Venstefan.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're saying it's
less. Yeah.
The
Highland Park one is a lot more malt forward than the Venstefan.
Highland Park cuts really clean. Like after you're done, like it's clean, it's almost gone, and it's like you're ready for whatever other flavor is going to hit your palate.
Yeah, like I could totally go for like a brat with mustard right now.
As far as the Smogtoberfest, I get like a lingering kind of since we're speaking about hops, I don't get any. I mean, it's malty, I guess, on the flavor, but the first thing that stood out was this kind of vegetal hoppy flavor, and not like DMS or like corn or something bad, like kind of like an underlying hop flavor that I didn't expect. It's like a West Coasty fest beer, I guess, but it's not like it's hoppy in terms of aroma and bitterness. Like I don't know. It's like kind of a deep hop flavor.
I'm gonna make a beer called West Coast Fest Coast.
Yes, that's awesome.
How come no one has made that yet?
West Coast Fest Coast. Any brewer, you're free to use that. Just give me a shout out. Just give 4 brewers a shout out, and you can use West Coast Fest Coast.
Yeah, so I picked up, obviously, I think Jason, you're on your last can too. So I had a 4-pack of this Fest beer from Highland Park, and this is the last can, and it's gone because it was so good.
It's really good, yeah.
And it hits the marks in terms of what you like. You mentioned kind of like it's lacking in that sort of Euro German sort of like dankness. It definitely has more of like, I think, a slight American spin on it, but not in the sense of, overly hopping. Like it's really clean.
Yeah, there's just a little bit more of a funky hop character to the Venstefan. Again, not like full on like Czech Pils funk, but a little bit. The hop character is a little bit more pronounced. It's a little bit. The nose is a little funkier. The taste is a little bit more bitter. And the Highland Park is just a cleaner beer, but it does have hop character and it does have malt character, and it's actually, to use a word that I feel is overused, is balanced. It really is balanced very well. It's just interesting again to see that the more aggressive beer is the European beer, because that's very rare, especially with traditional styles like these. So,
yeah, again, going back to this beer from Smog, it's kind of in its own category, which I think is kind of a good thing. It's okay. It has vibes of like Oktoberfest / fest beer, but it's got, I think, Smog's signature character on it as far as like hop characteristics go. It just seems like they weren't out there trying to make a facsimile of like a Märzen or a fest beer. They did their own thing, and it tastes good, but it's not what I expected at all. I expected something that's just like straightforward, clean, no hop characteristics to speak of, and just enjoyable, which I'd be fine with, but it's not that. It's different, and I'm here for it. Good.
I'm super glad we did Oktoberfest show, you guys. I love these beers, and I like having a setting to try them in.
One of my favorite things to do was to hit up Total Wine and go to their shelf that's like the seasonal shelf, and every season and literally just grab one of everything that was remotely related to the current season.
Right. Yeah.
I haven't done that in a while. See, I haven't done that in a while because I haven't been in a Total Wine in ages. Well, I guess, since March. But anyway, since I haven't been able to
like
do
ages.
That, yeah, exactly.
Is there one near you? Do you have to go to the Valley or some shit?
Yeah, Northridge or Costa Mesa, I think, are the two closest.
Oof,
ones.
yeah. So you do have to go to the Valley.
Yeah.
It's just, they're a suburb chain. They are not an urban store. That's for sure.
No. And so, I mean, I picked up all of these. Shout out to Sunset Beer Company, their new online ordering. So I picked all these up from Sunset Beer Co.
Awesome. Shout out for sure.
Yeah, which was really cool because I was able to just be like, oh, go through their online ordering. Here's 4. But, it is only just a small sampling. Like they only had, these were literally, I think, the only 4 that they had in stock of Oktoberfest. But I definitely missed the ability to just be like, just sweep the shelf of the seasonals into my cart.
But the beers you got, though, were a good selection, which says a lot about, I think, their selection that they have for everyone. So, and even like where I went, Gerard's, like, I mean, I think I came home with 5 different Oktoberfest beers, and there was a couple I left behind because it was just, I'm not going to, some I could get singles of, some I had to buy 4-packs of or 6-packs of. And so I walked out of there with like $80 worth of beer. And it's what I didn't expect from this show is how much selection we would have for Oktoberfest beers.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to see, all these different breweries embrace the style or, I don't know, the event and put their own spin on it.
And especially with European styles shrinking so much, I was kind of worried that the selection of Oktoberfest beers would be as weak as it is of every other European beer these days. And it was actually pretty good. It was looking pretty strong. So
I think you have breweries like Sam Adams or Left Hand or Sierra Nevada that it's going to be a constant in their seasonal rotation. So I wouldn't worry about some of those places. Not.
Yeah, I think as far as like
don't want pumpkin beer, have to drink something in the fucking.
Oh
fall.
yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've had more than like maybe a handful of pumpkin beers, and no, thank you. I am staunchly against pumpkin beer.
Pumpkin ale from Dogfish Head. It's a brown ale made with pumpkin bullshit. It's the best one in my opinion. Yeah, pick it up. That's a different show.
But this is also coming from the person. This is coming from the person who's super excited that pumpkin cream cold brew is at Starbucks. So I guess I'm.
Dude, I'm here for the PSL lifestyle. Like it's I'm not gonna hate on it. I dig it. Pumpkin beers are a different discussion. So yeah.
Well, that's fall, right? There's 2 beers that come out in the fall: pumpkin beers and Oktoberfest. And there's pumpkin beers for, I don't know, whoever, somebody likes them, it seems. So good on you. You have those beers for you. And for me, there's this Oktoberfest.
Overall, I think the takeaway from this show is there are a lot of different breweries making different interpretations of Fest beer and Oktoberfest beer. And so if you want to check out the style, of course, it's, we live in areas where beer is bountiful, but even if you have access to beer online or whatever, or even like big chain stores like Bevmo or Total Wine, you're going to find some diverse styles of Oktoberfest beers. And, they tend to have good shelf life and you can't really go wrong buying anything. Like, it's just a matter of taste and interpretation. Is that it? Okay, everyone agrees that's a good spot to
Could be. I have another beer if you guys want to drink one.
Me too.
We're at an hour, unless you want to do one like as a bonus for Patreon. Yeah,
we can do that. I've got LA Aleworks Superstein.
I have. I'll
do Bottle Logic.
Should we?
Bottle Logic.
Do you want me to stop recording and keep recording, or?
Yes. Let's all stop recording and then start recording again. So it's like separate. So Tim, you're gonna Jason and Tim will have to save your Audacity file, and then quit Audacity, and then open Audacity again because it's just gonna tack it on to that.
Well, I could just hit new. I know how to make a new recording, John.
Well, whatever. Yeah. Sarah's Patreon episodes were like they were 10-minute episodes, but they were 900 megabytes because she didn't do a new one, which is fine. Okay. She didn't know how to. And so I was like, why is it so big? Oh, because it's just like the same recording, but with more audio. So
we're still doing Wave, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Keep
cool.
them off my wave.
Since we're not recording, I have a bone to pick with that shirt. The Brew United font is 100% the Untapped font.
Okay, well, it's funny you brought, because I have a photo of the shirt that I took. My iPhone was set up, so I took a photo.
It's the same font that I used for Untapped.
No way.
Yeah, no, it is. The D, the E, the N. It's 100% the same thing.
Does Untapped like license it, or
I don't even remember.
So it's just a coincidence kind of thing.
Yeah, it's coincidence, I'm sure. Okay. But it is. I was watching him like that. Fucking N and D look exactly the same.
I like how you're prominent nips in that photo.
I knew you were gonna say that, dude.
Someone
I can't help it. Like,
headlights are on, dude. High beams.
All right. Okay, so I saved out and exported my wave.
I'm recording, so once you guys are back and ready to go, we'll do it.
Apparently, my computer can't handle the power of exporting this wave.
How long do you guys want to hang around for this?
Need a minute.
No more than 10 minutes.
Okay, cool. I guess I gotta finish. I like put the rest of the AleSmith in my cup. I like how you just in the background, all you have is fucking lazy cats just hanging out.
Oh, for you? Yeah. I was like, I don't have cats.
Yeah, you got this one over here.
Oh, I didn't point it out, but for decoration, I put a 5-liter
Oktoberfest. Nice. It's a mini keg, right?
Yeah, I bought that this year for this season, but
Is there anything in it?
Yeah, it's full.
Wait, who is it?
Hofbrau.
That's good too.
I haven't had occasion to drink 5 liters of beer. Also,
because there's no time to get to. What are you going to do with 5 liters of beer by yourself?
I mean, that's all I'm going to drink for the night, I guess.
Still, 5 liters is a lot of liquid, man.
Also, the only beer I'm drinking in October is during 4 Brewers right now. So,
are you doing Sobertober?
Kind of. Just
your own shift on it.
Yeah.
I hit Joe up about coming on this week, and he's also doing Sober October. But he goes, if you watch my YouTube channel, you wouldn't know otherwise because I filmed 14 videos in the last 2 weeks.
Oh, Jesus.
So otherwise he'd be here.
Oh, whew.
But yeah, this shirt, I don't know, I shouldn't have brought it up on the show, but it's so weird. It's like spandexy, but if you wear a cotton shirt, it'll stretch out and then it gets kind of raggedy looking. I don't know. It's weird. It's not like a workout shirt, but it feels like a workout shirt, or it's like a little bit of spandex, cotton, and polyester, but in a really good way. It's a weird shirt. I've never worn a shirt like this. It's got lines in it. Looks like it's knitted. Anyway, I recommend this shirt.
Deciding on the right shirts to use is definitely a challenge sometimes.
They nailed it with this shirt because I will wear this shirt every day if I could. Well, I can, but it'll get stinky. But,
all right. So you want me to start a new recording?
Yeah.
All right. Go on. Check.
Jason, recording.
Check 2. Boom. 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 Yeah, we're good.
Floor Tom's here.
Hello, patrons of 4 Brewers. We are back with a bonus episode for y'all. We had one more Oktoberfest beer left over between the 3 of us, and we decided to do a bonus episode. And here we are.
What's up, jerks?
Jason, what are you drinking, man?
I've got Bottle Logic Oktoberfest.
What?
That is a great name.
It's got a really cool. It's got the triangle diamond flag thing, but
it's like the Bavarian flag, but it's like dark green and lime yellow.
Does that not just fall right in with their persona?
And inside of each diamond, there's a little kind of troll orc looking guy, and then all the light green ones say Bottle Logic very lightly. My camera won't even focus on it. Get me out of here, motherfucker. There you go.
That's pretty
it won't do it.
That's awesome, though.
Yeah, Oktoberfest is so on brand for Bottle Logic. Definitely.
It really is. I was thinking it was one of their WoW beers, because they've done beers for BlizzCon before. Maybe it was meant to be for BlizzCon and then fucking COVID.
I think they've brewed it before. I don't think it's it would make sense though for BlizzCon, but I don't think there is a BlizzCon this year anyway. So
no, that's what I'm saying. Maybe they brewed it it was gonna be a BlizzCon beer, but then COVID, so they just made it anyways.
Yeah. I am drinking Haas from Great Divide.
Ooh.
Actually, I have a photo of it right here. Yeah, this is. I think I've had this on the show before. Mm-hmm. If not, I've had it in person, outside of the show. 6.2% alcohol by volume, so it's on the higher end of an Oktoberfest lager. And as far as I can tell, it's coming off a little lighter, maybe not on camera. It looks kind of yellow-orange in the camera, but it's coming off to me like more of a fest beer kind of look. Not not like it's going to be like really caramel malty, but more like clean lagery, I guess. Tim, what's up?
So I have Los Angeles Ale Works. There it is. Superstein Oktoberfest beer.
The blue and the white and the gold.
It's really cool looking. Yeah,
it pops out really nice, and it's like Willkommen right there at the top. They on the back here they got German malts, German hops, German accent. They got their little blurb here is written in like Hans, buddy, this beer is made specifically for the proud people of Hawthorne, California. It's pretty solid. I love, and you got your little leader hosing right there at the bottom.
Oh yeah,
I'm glad to see anyone but me dipping into the accents on the show.
Oh yeah,
it's great.
But see, the problem is mine always tends to like I start somewhere and I end up with like snooty Frenchman. I don't know why. It always ends up there.
Say chowder.
So John, you mentioned yours like the color. So this they call this an Oktoberfest beer, and like you're getting
it's very yellow.
You're getting a lot of gold, not much of that copper malt. So I'm very interested to see how this turns out.
Yeah, just smelling my beer. Again, my thoughts just looking at it come through on the nose. It's very malty, but like biscuit malt, not like caramel malt. And I already know it's not going to be like that traditional like Märzen style Oktoberfest. It comes off very fest beer like. Jason, yours in the glass look very, very orange.
It's kind of in the middle again. It's actually reminiscent of people, if you listen to the full show, of the AleSmith beer. It's kind of they actually list the malts. Bark Pills, Vienna, Munich 1, Cara Munich, acidulated malt, hopped with Magnum, Tettnang, and Mittelfrüh. So it's got a little bit of malt character. It's got more malt character than the Fest beer propers, but it's not a full-on Märzen. Again, it does feel a little bit like kind of a best of both worlds kind of thing. Not as hoppy as the Fest beers, for sure.
That's how Haas is coming off for me. I just took a sip of it, and it's coming off in a good way. It's coming off heavy as far as like the malt characteristics go. Not caramelly, maybe a tinge of caramel, but more again like sweet malt bread kind of thing with a semi-dry finish. And hop character is way in the background. Like it's not bitter at all. Like it's got enough bitterness to balance out this malt thing that I'm getting, and that's pretty much it. Could I drink a 6-pack of this? Probably not. It's not like it's under fermented or anything. It's just their interpretation of an Oktoberfest, and it's good, but it comes off heavy.
It's Great Divide, right? They lean on sweet. Like Great Divide really does lean sweet. So,
but it's good though. Like I would say for like fest beers, it's like a dessert style fest beer. Like if that makes any sense. Like again, it's got lingering sweetness, semi-dry, but that malty sweetbread kind of thing. Like a little bit of honey character too. It's it comes off thick, but again, it doesn't come off under fermented and like, oh, I can't drink this. It's to be expected. It's almost like a barley wine kind of thing happening.
Interesting. I'd say with this LA Ale Works, it's lacking a bit in sort of that malty area. I feel like this comes more across like in the category of like the Highland Park Fest beer that we did on the full show. It falls a little bit more into that kind of crisp, lighter hoppy than it does into the malty, sweet sort of brown sugar caramel. It's very smooth, but it definitely finishes with a little bit of like the hoppy character kind of hanging out somewhere. You gotta search for it a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds like LA Ale Works. I mean, I'm not surprised it's on the lighter side of fest beer or Märzen or Oktoberfest or whatever you want to call it.
But could you drink a liter of it?
I would put this one in a category of a liter potentially. Yes, I would say more so than referring back again to the full show. we did a Highland Park's Fest beer there. Highland Park's Fest beer, I think it was nice and smooth, but it definitely came across a little bit more on like kind of the hoppier sort of a little more oomph to it. Whereas this LA Ale Works, while it has sort of the flavors that I got from the Highland Park, it's less in your face. It's less. I don't want to say harsh, but it's definitely a smoother drinker.
So to wrap it up, Tim could not drink a liter of his beer, right?
I don't know this one. Oh, sorry. Well, no, I was saying
borderline, maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it could potentially happen with his LA Ale Works for sure.
Okay, mine definitely not. Like this is 1 or 2 cans and move on to something else. Good beer, a little too heavy. I mean, interpret that how you will, but it's a little too heavy for me. Not a liter worthy beer. Jason,
the Oktoberfest is a liter worthy beer. At this point, would I drink a liter of it? No. After doing the last show, should I drink a liter of this beer? No.
Will you?
But I mean, I don't have a liter of it, so no.
Oh, okay.
I'll finish this much, but if there was a liter of it in front of me right now, I'd be like, "Could I have this tomorrow?" But but otherwise, it's a really solid beer. It's a bit more sweet, I think, than the AleSmith version, which kind of did the down the middle thing. This one's got a little bit more of the sweet malt character to it, but it's a really solid beer all the way through. I think it's super drinkable. And
not like we were judging beers on the full episode, but I think the AleSmith Oktoberfest beer won by far. Like I mean, unless you had like a traditional German style, Oktoberfest or Fest beer.
I kind of dug the Venstefan. It was hoppy and it was super good.
Yeah.
You Patreons get to get our winner, and my winner was the Venstefan Fest beer.
Who's my winner?
When we wrap up a show, like I tend to pour maybe like a third of all of the cans that we have, and some of them I'll finish later, some of them I won't. And the AleSmith, I poured the rest of the can before we even got into doing the Patreon episode. So like I would say that was my clear winner, just because of how easy drinking, but also fulfilling all the flavor points of an Oktoberfest that I wanted.
I have 5 left of the AleSmith or the AleSchmidt
AleSchmidt, dear AleSchmidt.
So I'm looking forward to drinking those in the future. So patrons, thanks for your support. Thanks for listening.
For sure.
And, we'll see you. We'll see you next time. All right. And you can start.
So John, I paused recording when I wasn't talking on accident for like 30 seconds.
When?
Like 2 minutes ago. I hit spacebar and I didn't realize I was still in the Audacity window, and it paused it, and I caught it before I talked again, so I didn't miss any of what I said, but the length might be fucked up. So just a FYI.
So I might have to realign it.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
I'm just gonna add Patreon to the end of the file name.
That's fine.
Sweet. I didn't get a chance to like say this on air, but
you're still on air, so.
Well, okay.
In the recording.
In the recordings, live is still happening. I think this is a style that is for sure, having all of these has made me like super miss being out and with people.
Yep. Well, I said on the show, dude, like I'm drinking, especially like the liter worthy beers. I think of Prost. Tim, you got to go to Prost sometime, even if you're not at GABF. Like, it's such a cool place. Like, they have an actual German brew house that they shipped over from Germany. They tore it out of a fucking German brewery.
Well, the one beer that I ended up putting back, the I don't even know, Einger, the Einger Oktoberfest. I had it last week at Wurstkuku. Yeah, I had that at Wurstkuku.
Sausage place, right?
Yeah, down in Arts District when we were down there hanging out. I had the sausage and the beer, and it was like fantastic. And I'm thinking like, God, this would be so nice, but is that person too fucking close to me right now?
Yeah, setting COVID aside, I think, I mean, even beer in general, a lot of it is experiences. Like you go to a place. Pliny for me is a beer that the first time I had Pliny was at a bar with New Beer Thursday, and I was there with Steve and people from that bar. And like every time I drink it, I think of that, and I also think of JBF because it's like the default beer that you order at the Falling Rock. Because you walk in and they walk up. What do you want? You don't even know what they have, but you're like, give me a Pliny. Okay, so everyone gets a Pliny because it's the default beer, and they're not going to run out. Like Russian River makes sure that the Falling Rock has Pliny at all times, and I think that's really cool. So I think of that community aspect of beer when I think of Pliny. When I see it on the shelf, I'm less inclined to buy it because I don't really care.
Mm-hmm.
But if I'm at a bar, yes, I want Pliny. Like, because I'm around my friends, and I think, I keep bringing up Prost. Like, it's the same thing where, God, there was one year where I downed like 3 liters of beer without even thinking about it, and I had the time. It was so fun, and I wasn't like a mess or anything when I left, but it was just a lot of fun. And
yeah, for sure. I've been to Denver twice. Once for JBF, and unfortunately. Well, maybe not unfortunately, but I was on the clock doing podcast stuff most of the time I was there, so I didn't have a chance to like really go too far out and explore. But I will.
How long were you there? Like the whole weekend, or?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Excuse me. But we had like a live show outside at another brewery, and we were on the floor recording, and we did a bunch of stuff. So
my first year at GABF was no fun. It was the same thing you went through, where you were stressed about like covering the event. Am I going to suck? How do we even do this? And yeah, I get that.
Like waiting in line, like, hey, could we talk to you for like a hot second?
And then you realize, well, because I told you, you can just go in the back and like, hey, I'm going to talk to you. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. But I will.
I'm just saying, like,
that said, Prost is going on the list.
Covering these events as media, you do your job, but like the more you go to these events, you see more and more people that you recognize, and so there's places that everyone, like the Falling Rock, and Prost is another one, and I have really good memories of Prost. Like, such a great brewery, such a fun place.
I was down a rabbit hole because the beer Haas started making me think about the Lagwagon album, and I'm like, what's Lagwagon up to? And they're doing a live stream next weekend. I'm like, shit, I should watch that.
There you go. With breweries reopening, I'm kind of excited about that because talking about places that I feel safe at, I am for sure going to go to Brewery West. I
haven't been to anywhere. I haven't drank a beer that somebody has poured for me since fucking March.
So
okay, before you continue, Tim, you were the person on this show that was the most hypercritical about everything.
Oh, for sure.
Now you're the one that's going everywhere.
I don't know about everywhere. No, not everywhere. You're going
more places than I am. That's
out there wild and
yeah. See, there was like a very specific like just cutoff point where like, fuck this shit. And it's like we're not going anywhere that like.
I know you're being responsible, but
yeah,
you're the only one among us that is like, I'm venturing out into the world and you're being safe, but you're still like doing things where I'm still like, the thing we were going to do is have someone over from another brewery. And then they were like, my coworker got COVID. So it's, and that was just like, yep, John,
I just have no desire to like sit like far from everybody with like weird plastic barriers maybe and like drink out of a plastic cup. And I'm like, fuck this. Like the experience sucks.
I think it depends on what you're doing. Cause like it depends on where you're going and who you're with and what you're doing. Like we needed to get out. So we've been to there's a bar called Employees Only in West Hollywood. They closed, obviously the bar is closed, but they turned their parking lot into like an astroturfed, like what they call summer social club. And everything's super spaced apart. And you're like, your cocktails come in like a plastic cup and they have a pop-up. You have to order food because that's part of like the legal restrictions. And they have like pop-up restaurants. And honestly, like they take your temp at the beginning when you come in, and everybody's masked and everybody's socially distanced. So we've just had to put a certain level of like, what's our like risk, like our variable, if you will.
Well, aren't we all assessing that?
Yeah, that's that's for sure where you're at. And there's certain places where like, no fucking way. Like when I mentioned worst cuckoo. I'm gonna call it worst cuckoo.
We're Stucky.
We moved tables because we didn't necessarily feel comfortable around some of the people that we were at, just to get away and move away. So we're like keeping an eye on everyone. And it's a little, there's like that slight social paranoia, but it's just a matter of like, we definitely, yeah.
You live in an apartment, right?
Oh yeah.
So is there any outdoor space where you can just like be distanced and still be outdoors? I mean, I think that's a difference because I have a house that's on 1/3 of an acre.
Yeah.
So I can literally just sit in my backyard. Like I live in, a suburb. It's not like I live in, a rural area where it's like quiet and peaceful. But, I can sit in my garage. I can sit in the backyard. I can go outside and do things. I can brew in my house. I can do a lot of things. So I see where you're coming from if you live in an apartment where you don't have the ability to go outside and just be outside and do things.
Outside for us is going behind the building in the parking lot.
That's not the same. Definitely not.
Yeah.
Like,
otherwise,
sitting in Yvonne's Prius in the garage, like staring out into the neighborhood, that's more outside than sitting in a parking lot. Like I think, because you're talking about an urban area and a suburban area where, yeah, I live in a suburb where I'm looking into a street, but it's not busy at all. I basically live on a cul-de-sac.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing's happening. A car drives by every hour, maybe.
So is that in the comments? Is that Twitch? So Lemonade?
Yeah.
Okay, so just there's a question here. Have you ever bailed when you've scouted out a place? We have multiple times bailed on scouting out places. So that's like we drive by and like, oh, that line is long or those people are too close. So for sure, like there have been places where like we should go check this out because they have outdoor dining and everything seems cool. And then we get there like there's just too many people. So we've for sure bailed on several plans. Like we had a reservation for a new Italian restaurant pop up that was doing like outdoors, and we're just like, we don't really know this place and we don't know what their rules are. The majority of the places that we've gone, like we've thoroughly read all of the procedures and we've gone there and felt very comfortable with what they're doing. So that's like for sure. We've definitely.
Yeah. I think my whole point is like context about where you live.
Yeah.
If you're cooped up in, an apartment and you can't go outside and you want to be outside and, get some food, I don't know. That's one thing. But if you just want, because if you just missed being served by people and like going to the movies and stuff, and there's a check. In my opinion, it's not a valid reason to venture outside because you can do that stuff at home still.
I haven't been fucking anywhere. I haven't been anywhere that I pieced out of because I assume everywhere is sketchy and I'm not going.
Yeah.
And even then, like, well, it's an easy decision out here. It's been 100 degrees for the last fucking 2 months. So am I going to go sit on the patio, get plastic fucking cups and like get like, have like weird plastic shit between me and everybody. And I'm like, this isn't like this weird quarantine, like, oh, but at least somebody's bringing me my food. Like, man, fuck that. I'll just get the food to go and eat it at my house.
Honestly, I thought about Cheap Beer Corner. I released every episode that we recorded back in February. I don't know. And I thought, how could we do this like safely at Jason's house? And we record in his garage, which is technically outdoors. But the table we use, like Matt and Jason are a foot apart. That is not socially distanced at all. So I thought, and I'm talking to Yvonne about this too. I'm like, well, what if I got like a long table and Jason's on one end and Matt's on the other end? And like we got a plexiglass thing and we kept the garage open. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, how about we just not do it?
Yeah, just wait.
I think what it comes down to is reading up on current science related to studies and really kind of making an educated guess. Like the majority of it says you need to, if you're going to do something, you need to be like in a very active, like I don't know exactly the words, but like
you don't want to be indoors where the air is being
like
recirculated, and you want to be outdoors where there's like a good amount of airflow. Yeah,
exactly. And it's like a 15 to 30 minutes of like constant like closeness with somebody else. That's really comes down to it. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of different things about it, and sure. I will say, like, you're for sure safer staying at home, hanging out, doing all that stuff. And, you know, I'm definitely say like there's a calculated risk in it. And
Lemonade's post that I shared up here is very much how I feel, which is like you've got probably less of it, Tim, in your area, being especially on the west side. But well, I don't know. Maybe there's some shitheads, but
there's a Mexican restaurant around the corner, and they put tables out on the sidewalk. So here's the determination: if a place is putting tables on the sidewalk, I'm not going there. If they have a parking lot or somewhere that is away from the public access that is distant, then I'm more inclined.
Like the thing I've seen though, and I'll bring up Temecula. They shut down Old Front Town Street, whatever the fuck that street's called. They shut a street down so all those restaurants could have outdoor dining.
Yeah, Redlands did that too.
People on the patios of those streets, and they're packed in. Like there's no distancing at all.
Yeah, for sure. I would avoid that at all costs.
And it's just assholes that are like, yeah, I got to eat and I want to be served and give me my drinks. Like you could, again.
That's a big thing. I feel like the crowds that are out there right now, it self-selects for the guys that are just like, whatever, this is a dumb hoax and you wear a mask. Okay, if you're scared, I guess. And I'm like, I don't want to be in a bar with those assholes. So like, I feel like that's a lot of the crowd that's out right now. And I'm like, I don't want to be around those people. So I'm just going to stay fucking home.
Yeah. I mean, it's a really tough call. And I'm not trying to bust Tim's balls at all for going out. Like, and I get it. Like you it's like you said, Tim, it's a calculated risk. And if you think you're doing the right thing, then of course, like go for it. But if you're being haphazard about it, then that's when it gets risky.
Yeah.
Me right now, I miss going to a tasting room. Like even like a place like Ritual in Redlands, you've never been there. Their tasting room, it's huge. Like there is minimal risk in that place. You're pretty much outdoors.
You know what I miss is food halls.
Yeah. Well,
like do they have those out in LA, Tim? The food hall concept, whole like. Yeah.
There's a bunch of places. Oh, yeah. There's one downtown that's really famous. Grand Central Market. They're building a new one in Culver.
Yeah. I went to Grand Central Market 15 years ago. So, yeah. I guess that is the same concept. So, yeah. But, yeah, they just started getting out here. And I'm like, dude, I loved going to, like, Riverside Food Lab or Haven City Market.
Dude, right? The food lab
just wander around, try food.
Like how loud it is and whatever. Like, that's my quibbles for being socially anxious. It's now that I look back on it, it's like, oh, I want to go there.
Haven's way better about all that, by the way. Haven City Market's like 3 times the size.
A prime example for us, like tasting room wise, like there's a place in Arts District called Polly Wines. It's a winery based out of like Santa Barbara. But you go there and you get a table, and for us, like we sit the farthest away. It's on the street. It's out in the air. Everything's blown around. All of the servers have gloves, masks, and shields. And whenever somebody comes to our table, I always put my wife and I, we always put our mask back on if anybody's coming nearby, just for safety's sake. Like, so we're playing, obviously we're making sure that we're being as safe as possible.
Well, that's good.
I don't know. Sorry. This is all shit that I probably should.
I do have, now I have 2 more events.
Talk, man.
I have 2 more events now. So I have the Lagwagon next Saturday. So I got a concert then. And then I forgot to mention earlier, I'm going to watch How Did This Get Made?
Ooh.
How Did This Get Made live on Friday? But they're doing the Cats movie, which I've seen on Edibles, and it was great. No.
The Lagwagon show was online.
On Edibles, sure, but like regularly.
Maybe I miss it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still staying at my home.
Okay.
But I'm going to the Lagwagon show online and the How Did This Get Made show online on Friday. So I got a big week. I got 3 events this week.
Well, I'm trying to open my calendar and it's not working, of course. I will let you guys know on actually the 24th, I think it is, how that show the 17th was, because it's after we record.
All right, cool.
Oh, John. Hello. He muted himself.
Sorry, yeah, I did. That's the drive-in.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Nice.
All right, I'm gonna take off now that I've said way too much incriminating stuff.
Cheese bros.
If you want to stalk Tim, he lives at one.
Nope. Get out of here. Get out. Ah.
Hit me up for his address. I'll give it to you.
Oh, get out of here.
All right.
Brew
Tim.
the shit out of it.
Thanks, everyone. Take it easy.
Later, man.